Hey everybody, it is August 13th, 2007. I am Sonic Sons, and I've been thinking, as usual, I'm thinking about, for one thing, the slowness of bureaucracy, right? And, the prevalence of that problem, particularly the bureaucracy in, the American government. Though really, you can find it anywhere. But the government, for instance, because the government is in charge of everything, and hopefully they would get their stuff straight and ship out, emergency rations to New Orleans when they need it, among other things. It's not actually just a problem with the Bush administration, it's a problem with all administrations. It's a problem we've previously tried to tackle. I looked this up on Wikipedia, yay, Wikipedia, and found that there have been several times we did like these super commissions, to destroy bureaucracy. It's happened like a good 3 or 4 times or something, where they've really gone at it and spent a couple of years just like churning through everything I could think of and trying to figure out how to sort everything out. And apparently that doesn't work, because we tried it 3 or 4 times. There was the one where like they went through it and their main recommendation was to create like super departments above the departments. Like, oh great, another level of bureaucracy. Great. Everyone, everything's just like concerned with the one thing you're doing, and then that messes up with things everything else is doing, and that everything relies on everything else, but everything's not aware of everything else, and everything gets changed around, and bureaucracy is just taken as a fact of life, and we just kind of go with it, even though it slows down everything, and we end up wasting all sorts of money, and we, there's just too much for us to keep track of, or so it seems. What I think we should do is, as Buckminster Fuller said, we got to start focusing on specialists, which is nice to have, no problem with specialists, but there needs to be somebody who is the generalist, someone whose specific job it is to look at everything at once, long term. Now, technically, the guy in charge of the bureaucracy could be called the generalist guy. Like the president, in this case, for instance, he technically being in charge of everything, you think he would make everything efficient. Well, the president's busy with stuff. Busy with his political stuff, and he's busy with, whatever emergencies may come up, right? He doesn't have time to look long-term in large part because he's not staying here for long-term. I'm not necessarily saying that he should stay for long-term because that breeds corruptions, but somebody needs to be around long enough to look far enough into the future to see, okay, where are we going with this, and is this constructed right, and is this, because everybody else, and this is one of the big things that keeps bureaucracy alive, everyone else is like, look, I'll just, take care of my part of it, I'll just get through this, and then just whatever, all this rest of this crap is happening, but you're not looking at the big picture, are you? You're the specialist, even if you don't have that title, you can just do one special thing. This is my job, I'm just doing my job, I'm just doing my job, whatever it is. And it's horribly inefficient. So, what I think we need is not another giant commission to fix all our problems at once. You can't solve bureaucracy with bureaucracy. Not really. You can't, because you have a giant commission doing their research, right? And you have sending out hundreds of reports, and everyone's got to get reports back, and I'm like, everything gets slower for a little bit because you have to talk to the guy who's, all at once asking everybody how the bureaucracy works and how everything functions and how it, no time for it. And there's inertia to overcome, right? Because everything just, it kind of works as it is, and every time we change something, we put in this rule or take out that rule or, crap happens, and it's crap nobody wants to deal with, because there's bureaucracy in the way for dealing with it. So, you can't change everything at once. What I would rather see is a long series of very small changes. I'll tell you how that would happen. We would have, as you can see from the title of the video, the National Independent Council, which I know, okay, we're adding another piece of the bureaucracy to the puzzle here. Alright. But hear me out on this one, alright? Particularly, I hope someday some president listens to this video. That'd be great. Hear me out on this, Mr. President. Or Mrs. President, whatever. We'd have the NIC, National Independent Council, consisting of let's say 10 people who are all meant to be generalists. They all look at the big picture. They all they stay for pretty long terms. I guess you have to work this out exactly, you know. But generally, I like people to each stick around for like 10 years or so if they're doing a good job. You know, they can get fired. And on staggered terms, so people aren't leaving all the time. And I'd like them to actually be able to, well, for one thing, to have a lot of freedom, right? To just look around, all right? A simple idea of it would be the advantage of the NIC, National Independent Council. The advantage of the NIC is that it is almost completely free of red tape. And the purpose of the NIC is to use this advantage for the betterment of the American people, or for the service. Betterment is not a very good word for a mission statement. But all right, so these people will be tasked with looking at everything, just whatever they feel like looking at, whatever seems to pique their interest most often. The president can ask them, do this or that, but he can't exactly order it, right? And every member of Congress, or any member of the American people for that matter, or the world population for that matter, can send in a request. I think you should look at this part of the government. This is being inefficient. This doesn't make sense. This, all these things. And they'll take all these into consideration, but they research whatever they'd like. And I like that this wild card idea, because everyone's obsessed with their own little thing. Here's the people obsessed with just anything, whatever comes to mind, whatever, You have to do a good job of picking the right people for this. You can't pick standard committee types and just sit around and here's the menu for the committee today, and that's people. You got to have people who they work together. But they also be independent enough, collectively independent, because they have the National Independent Council, very independent, mind you. They wouldn't be part of any group we have. They're not like the executive office of the president branch, and there's got like 15 organizations in there. They're not like part of the congressional offices and their organizations, and they're just like their own category. They are independent, right?